All right, guys, thanks for coming out today for AIM number 7, Product X, and hopefully you're able to see my screens. Just type in yes if you see the big AIM symbol right there, and that way I'll know that it's showing up. Good. Thank you. Thank you. So when we're thinking about products, this is the area that when I first got started, I really made it so difficult because I wanted and I envisioned creating something that would answer and solve every problem out there. In fact, let's just start out by talking about some of the problems when it comes to product creation. And number one, it's pretty easy to make it complicated. That we want to make sure that we not only answer every single question out there, but that we also want to try to answer every question that will ever come up. And so we'll create these products that are infinite. I have a good buddy of mine that wanted to do some web design, but he never launched it. And I asked him why. He said, well, what if somebody asked me about video? Or what if somebody asked me about a database? And I said, well, you don't do those. He goes, I know I don't, but what if they ask about it? Well, then you tell them you don't do them. You just don't put them in your package. And he said, but what if people want it? I said, well, who cares if they want it? You can just simply say, this is what I do. Now, even in the area of public speaking and training, I did an interview this morning with a guy that wanted to know how to tell his list of how to get paid to be a speaker. Well, my way of getting paid as a speaker is so non-traditional that I know there are products out there that will give people 40 different ways to make money as a speaker. But I really only teach one overall way. And it's the way that the way that I focus and the thing that I do more than anything else. And so that's why I really focus on that and make sure that I stay with that. Carol's saying that the sound comes in and out. Is that if that's happening for you too, just type yes. If not, then Carol, it may be your connection right now. Okay, so Carol says seems okay now. Yeah, I think my internet's been a little bit off today, but hopefully the recording will be pretty tight. Okay, good. Hopefully it's all right now. Okay, so we tend to get complicated, and if we'll just offer what our solution is, it doesn't matter whatever else is out there. And it doesn't matter how complicated somebody else's program is. The other thing that we try to do sometimes is to make it all in one, that we're going to answer every single question that ever existed. And so therefore, we try to put everything in our package. It's not needed. And in fact, there's a movement away from this, or at least there should be, because people don't have time anymore to consume everything out there. A few years ago, a lot of digital products were just enormous. And so many people were buying these gigantic products, and it was new and it's fresh at the time. But now there's been enough time for people to realize that they've never gone through all of any of those products. And so their mind says, well, I'm just not going to buy this. There's so much to it. Now, if you happen to be in a field where people have not experienced that, like Kim, I don't know how many people have bought big, extensive horse training packages, or for the most part, it tends to be a lot more specific, or it tends to be about coaching, then you're going to be in a little bit of a different scenario. The rest of us have been in areas that people have bought these giant programs and they never got all the way through the program. And then number 3 is that often we go advanced and we don't help people with the essentials, so that we are operating from our current level of experience, and we fail to realize that most people in our area are beginners. So here's Product Launch Formula, which at the moment of this being recorded is going through a launch right now. But what is the very first word in this system? Product. And yet there are going to be thousands of people who are going to buy this that don't have a product. So they're actually they're buying an advanced marketing process that they can't even use yet because they don't have a product. So we've got to be careful. Now I don't think that Jeff's doing anything wrong, because there are a lot of people out there that have a problem and need this. But we've got to be careful in our own markets not to make everything so advanced that we're not reaching out to those who are beginners, or we market it as advanced. For example, with Nicheology Club Level, I say that people have to be making money in order to even become a member. So I've put that out there straight up, straightforward, and that way there's no doubt about it. So that's one of the big keys, is to make sure that you're staying away from advanced unless you label it as advanced. So let me give you 3 hot principles about product creation that's going to make it a lot easier for all of us. Number 1 is speed. How fast can you develop this? And the question that I would ask is, what can you do the fastest? Do you make videos the fastest? Do you make audios the fastest? Or because you don't feel it's comfortable with those, are you actually able to write faster than you would be able to complete the other 2 simply because of nerves or being unfamiliar? So type in which one of those, audio, video, or written, that you feel that you are the most accomplished with. Which one is the easiest for you, or the fastest for you? All right, Carol says video screencast. Love it. Carol Mead says written. Good. All right, so when you're looking at those, think about what you can do the fastest and allow that to be the core for you. Okay, Kim, what's fastest for you, the video, audio, or written content? What are you able to release the fastest? Okay, Kim says video. So the key here is that when you're beginning a project or beginning a product, go ahead and work within your speed. Whatever's going to be fastest for you, concentrate on that. If you need to switch it to a different learning style later, that's fine. So let's say that Carol Mead never wants to do any recordings. She's just going to write. Well, she can go to Fiverr and get somebody to record it, right? So it doesn't mean that that's taken out of the scenario. She can simply get somebody else to do the recording for her. Then she could take her points that she's written about and hand that over to Fiverr and have somebody create screens and then blend the audio together with it and have the product made as fast as possible, and it would tie into the style that she is the most connected with. Ease. What's going to be easy for people to consume? What is it? And the video may be easier for some people, and it certainly will with Kim's market, because you think about this, that if I'm training a horse, written instructions are not going to be great, right? I need to see somebody handling the horse. I need to hear the voice. I need to hear the voice inflections. I need to see the hand movements. I need to see the leading and the guiding. So it's going to be easiest in that market. Other markets, something that's written, that's straightforward, is going to work out extremely well. And certainly Carol Bremner knows that her video casting works out really well for her market, because they can watch the instruction on the screen and they can go out and they can implement that. So ease, speed for you, ease for the market, and then one value, one result, one thing that you want to focus on. Carol asked a question, what's your opinion about a combination? I think a combination is good, Carol, if you're able to do that and produce it relatively quickly. I wouldn't allow the combination to slow you down, meaning that if you have a video done and you're not releasing until you get the transcript back and it edited and it formatted, I would say go ahead and release the video and promise that the transcript's coming in a month. If you're going to do the transcript first or the written first, but you also feel like a video would be good, I wouldn't wait for the video to be done. I would go ahead and release the written portion and then move it into the other portion as well. Yeah, Carol says that your mention of Fiverr inspired her. Yeah, absolutely. You can rely on them to do a lot of those works. So with one value, take Reese's Cup. Reese's is not acting like you're going to get any protein from them. They don't act like they have anything to do with weight loss. I mean, they are chocolate and peanut butter. The end. That's it. One value, happiness for your mouth if you like such a combination. So they're not trying to be the be all end all of all candies. And they're not trying to put everything in place to answer every nutritional aspect, right? They're only focusing on what they do. Well, the same thing is going to be true and needs to happen as well for our market, that we need to make sure that we are providing that one value. So think about what I'm doing with my speakers right now. They can certainly come to MDK and learn the whole $1 million keynote. That's one option. If they just want to learn speaking, they can get the perfect presentation. If they just want confidence, they can get Speak Strong. If they just want how to get paid as a speaker, they can get my product that's named Paid. So it's one value based on that one question that they have, that one result that they want to get. So focus on that and make sure that you're providing that one thing in a great, detailed, and valuable way rather than trying to focus on everything out there. If they can consume it and get the answer quickly, it's going to help so much more. Removing away from the thud factor and the mass factor. If you wanted to lose some weight, would you rather read a 600-page book, or would you like it if a person could take those 600 pages, whittle it down to like 10, and give you only the essentials and say, if you'll read these 10 pages, you'll get everything that you need to know and avoid reading 600 pages? Well, I know my wiring. I'd much rather have the essentials and the tight form than having everything. So that's one of the ways that you market it, is you focus not only on the value, but you focus on that speed. You focus on your ability to get them to the solution as fast as possible. You guys have heard me mention before in pricing about how long have they had the problem, how deep is the problem, and how fast can you provide the solution. So if we're able to inspire them quickly, boom, we can tell them, hey, get inspired instantly. If we can help them lose weight quickly, hey, lose 7 pounds in the next 10 days. If we're able to train their horse quickly, then we give them direction, we give them the solution. If we're able to help them with their technology quickly, get your website up today. We use that time frame to help them visualize one value, one result, so that we don't even have to get your entire online business up and running. We can sell a component of that. We don't have to teach your horse to do everything under the sun. We can teach one component of that. And it makes such a big difference. It also makes your marketing easier because you don't get confused in the process of writing about your product because you end up getting so overwhelmed. So think about that. When you think about making sure that you're focused, you don't get near as overwhelmed with it because you're only marketing that one small concept, that one area. So here's the process that we'll use. I'm going to give you 3 options for creating your product, and then I'm just going to do some Q&A for what you guys may have around this. But what I wanted to do with Product X is to give you 3 of the easiest options for you to create a product rapidly. Number 1 is, what is your one? Number 1 is, what is your one? I want you to choose right now, whether or not you release it. I want you to choose one element, one question, one problem that you want to answer for your market. Just one. It can't be multiple. It has to be one thing that you're going to do for your market. I'm going to give you about a minute to think about that. And then once you get it, I want you to type it in. The one problem you're going to answer or solve for your market. Make it as specific as possible. One problem, one issue that you're going to answer for your market. Make it as tight and as specific as possible. Okay, Kim says, how to be successful with in-hand trail obstacles. She asked me if that's too broad. I don't know. I don't know if that's too broad. So in-hand trail obstacles. I'm thinking that's just one component of horse training, correct? Is that like just one thing? Okay, Kim said sorta. So if there's one element you could even tighten that up to, then Kim, I would encourage that. Carol says, this is Carol Bremner, how to get a regular email out to your list full of focused content gathered from multiple sources and done in less than half hour a week. Yeah, and I love that. You mentioned this frame before, and that is super tight. So I love that. Get a regular email out to your list. And this is an issue that people have. I can't tell you the number of people that I talk to that say, I need to email my list more. I need to get in front of them more. I need to be more consistent. All right. So that's your one problem that you're going to solve. Hey, Deborah, no problem at all. Deborah is here. She was late. Right, Carol, regular newsletter. I get you. Okay, so Deborah is inspiration and encouragement. You know, I would say with that, Deborah, that you could put together either a report or a book. Now, this would be an idea for you it's going to be more work than anything I'm suggesting. So I'm about to break some of the rules that we're about to cover. But a daily inspirational thought with an image, whether it was yours or somebody else's, could work out real well, or at minimum a monthly, which you've already talked about. If you did a weekly encouragement, like Monday Manna is every Monday that comes out, and you send them a verse and you send them an image, you know, that could be one thing that you're doing, because the one answer is that you are being inspirational. You are being an encouragement, right? So that's what you're delivering. Here's Kim. How to get your horse to cross the trail bridge easily. I love it. Super good. Carol says, 5 mistakes smart, faithful women make in their relationships that keep them frustrated, lonely, and confused. Okay. So, and you would have to say, and the solution, because this is something you're going to sell. This sounds more like a free report. So you want to make sure that you're framing it in a way that you would actually sell. Good. Hey, Deborah, I was saying that basing it on inspiration and encouragement is exactly what you're doing. That is your solution. So you may choose to produce something every week, like every Monday, you send an email out with encouragement and or a piece of art with it. All right, good guys. So here's option 1. You have 1 hour to produce your solution. I'm going to give you 3 options. This is the first one. 1 hour to produce your solution. And I know that Kim could do this in an hour, I'm pretty sure. I think that an hour of writing, Kim, you may be able to produce yours. My favorite way is to make an outline, to record for 1 hour, and then to get the transcription done. And that's a super solid product. So, Deborah, this could be an idea for you. You could write down your 10 favorite Bible passages that are encouraging and why they're encouraging to you. Then make a recording of all 10, explaining why they're an encouragement to you, and then have the transcription done of that. And that's a small little ebook for you. You know, that could be a big encouragement to other people. So each page has the verse at the top and then a small write-up because of why that's special, and then some blanks underneath that folks could fill in on how that passage encourages them. So you could easily do that within an hour. Kim, you could certainly do that with the horse. I think that you could do that with 1 training session in an hour. Pretty close. Carol Bremner, I don't know if yours is quite an hour. You may need to use the next one that we're going to go on. You may need a little bit more time in an hour, or you may be able to get it done in 1 hour. But overall, with this format, you make an outline or you type everything out. But I'm thinking about an outline. You record an hour's worth of content, and then you have it transcribed. So you got an audio and you've got the transcription. Someone like Wendy is going to just have the video as part of her course, and that's going to be fine. There doesn't have to be an additive to that. It could just be the video. So when you think about this, if you were to go out and buy a product and it was a 1 hour audio and it was also a transcript, you'd expect to pay $10, $20, $30 for that. If it's something that's super high level, really high level, and it was going to make you a bunch of money, you would expect to pay even more. I've paid over $100 before for 10 pages for a 10-page report because of what the focus of the report was. So don't be thinking about size as much as thinking about content and value. So that's number one. The 1 hour project can work pretty well for you. Number two is a series. Holy smokes, who's this? Number two is a series. So Carol and I were talking on the phone just the other day about her Paperly course. And Carol, is this the one that's in Udemy? And Carol says it's way too much. We actually talked about her selling the full course and doing it in essentials only. So this is actually a massive course. But what I love about it is it's one series. It's only about Paperly. It's not about 20 different softwares. It's not about setting up a complete process for your entire web business. It's focused on one course, one curriculum, one series. Now, the great thing about this is if you decide that you're going to do a series, such as Kim may decide to do a series just on trail handling, and that's it. But it's all focused on just that series of events, then it keeps the focus very tight. So if Carol had said, learn Paperly and learn Photoshop and learn Aweber, people suddenly would have been like, what in the world? What in the world? I don't know which one to start with. I don't know what I need to do. When you keep it tightly focused, then people come in, they know what they're getting, and they focus only on that element. So a tight series. Kim says this is really helping because I think I always have to answer everything to give value. You don't have to answer everything. You simply need to answer the question that they have. Now, right now, let me give a little sidebar. You think about product launch formula being launched right now at what, $2,000 a pop. Somebody could come out and I wouldn't do this, but somebody could come out and talk about how confusing it is because there are 6 different launches that are being taught. There have been mind maps that have been released that look just so massive. And you could say, certainly you can go and try to do this. And then you could have a corresponding mind map that had like 3 steps. Or you could just do this and launch just as effectively. You know, what would happen? That person that gave the very simple answer would get a lot of business because a lot of people will be drawn to the simplicity. So Carol says, answering everything about Paperly is what I was trying to do, and it ended up taking me almost a year. Woo! Let me ask you a question about this, Carol, that if you wanted to add more to this course now that it's done, would you be allowed to add more to it? I'm not saying add more, but would you be allowed to add more? Carol says, I keep adding more because there have been updates. So think about this. If you're using this style, you can always start with the essentials, launch it, and then go back and add more later if you want to. Carol Mead says, so something like Relationship Rescue at Home relationship rescue at work, relationship rescue with your spouse. Right. Something very tight for you to be able to release quickly. What I've noticed with many of us is that we don't release because we're so focused on providing that full value that we get trapped in the creation point instead of the release point. You know, we need to get out there and just release it. That's why I gave you the 1 hour option. And even with the series option, the question should be, what's the minimum that I need to release for this to be acceptable in answering this first question of the market? So Carol might think back and go, what could I've released immediately with my Paperly options and not answer every question, but answer the essential questions and then go back and add additional updates when they come across and when the time is right. Right. So that makes a big, big difference. So even if you're doing a series, make it a series about one component and then release the minimum first and then continue with updates. So Kim says, yes, that's why I've not released my course, but now I'm committed to one thing and release it. Absolutely. Teach that one component. And then as it grows, you can add other components to it in your horse training and end up having this horse training university, but you don't have to start out with the university. Start out by answering those most critical questions. Kim says, this is so encouraging. Good. I'm glad. I think that we try way too hard to answer everything and to be the be all end all, when really the goal is to help people reach an end, to get a result. And I believe in helping them get that result as fast as possible. Kim also commented, that's my vision, to have an academy. That's right. But you don't have to start with an academy. You know, a lot of schools don't start with kindergarten through college. They start with kindergarten, then they add elementary, then they add junior high, then they add senior high. And then if there's a corresponding degree with that, they would add that in. But they don't do it all at once. It's too expensive to do it all at once. And it's too expensive to our time to do it all at once. Oh, and Carol, I didn't ask your permission to be able to use this. Hope you didn't mind. Deborah says, that's why in my case, the Bible is so huge. So I would just need to focus on one aspect of God or his promises, etc. Exactly right, Deborah. Focus just on one aspect and that's it. And then one mentor. And this isn't for everybody, but I like the idea of offering coaching or to offer insight. It doesn't matter if anybody takes it or not. It doesn't cost us anything to offer it. If we can set up a checkout link, we're pretty much ready to go. And we can send something to the list to say, hey, I'd love to mentor you personally. I'd love to coach with you personally. Just hit reply if you're interested in working together one-to-one. Nobody knows if there was a response or not. Nobody knows if people signed up or not. Nobody knows any of that, right? Only you. But it costs you nothing to offer it. Kim mentions this for Deborah. Tell Deborah to look at God's little devotional book. I read it every day and it's encouraging. It may give you some ideas. Love that. Thanks, Kim. So with the mentoring, it's an easy product to offer because it doesn't cost anything to offer it. However, don't get bogged down in the details. Don't create a massive coaching program. Make it simple. You can email me once a day. We'll get on the phone once a week. Make it super tight. But you don't even have to tell them what it is. When you email out, you could email and simply say, I've had some folks interested in personal coaching one-to-one. If you're interested, just click reply, let me know, and I'll send you the details. Super easy, right? And even if nobody takes you up on the offer right then, they know that it's a possibility, and you'll be surprised over time, if you'll mention it regularly, that out of the blue, you'll get an email that will say, hey, are you still doing any coaching? Because they saw it at some point. I have people that will email me and say, I don't know where your coaching page is. I remember a while back you offered it. I wanted to see if it was still available. So don't overthink your coaching offer. And you can certainly, if you decide this route, you can certainly ask me any questions about that and how to set it up and what you ought to do. I'm a minimalist on almost everything. So even with coaching, to me, it's about how do we provide the most value in the shortest time as possible and get people moving rather than these long extended conversations that run in circles. Carol says, I think email coaching I would like better. And any of you guys that have email coached with me know that I rarely even type an email back. I draw an image around it or draw a box around it and snag it, and I'll record the answer most of the time. So I like that type of email coaching. Okay, so those are your three options. 1 hour, 1 series, or 1 mentor. I want you to select one of those and actually do the work on that to actually accomplish it. So if you're going to make a video product, make a video product. If you're going to write. If you're going to do a series, it's going to be a little bit more work. I would suggest a minimum either do the coaching offer or the 1 hour approach to turn in for the assignment. Now then, I've covered a pretty good bit of content material. What questions do you guys have about any of this? Is this pretty clear? Would you like some things clarified? Carol Mead says, very clear. Thank you. And if you need help with any mechanics, feel free to email me, paul@paulbevans.com, because we don't want to get stuck in any of that. Yeah, Kim, I would consider a 6-week course to be a series if it's around one concept and one process. Yeah, for this assignment, I would do something you can release pretty quickly, like in the next week. All right, good. Kim says, got you. Carol says, if there are common parts of a course that could be used in more than one series, would that be okay? For instance, Paperly for real estate, Paperly for bloggers. Absolutely, Carol. Yes. This was interesting. I was talking about this with some folks this week, is that Dave Ramsey came out with money for teens, and I think even money for the military, money training, financial training for the military. And one of the people I know bought the military training and was like, what in the world? This is exactly the same thing that I bought in Financial Peace. He's just using military terms. So it was the same exact thing. So certainly you can take that same content and use it for different niches. Kim says, if we don't have an Arctic blast with snow again, I'll be able to do my video. That's awesome. And then if it does snow, you can say how to care for your horse and manage your horse correctly and safely during the Arctic blast. So turn the bad weather into a profit center. All right. Any other questions? Kim said this was awesome. Thank you. Good. And again, if you need any help with any mechanics, please let me know. All right. So I will get this uploaded and I will send out an email tonight. I'm about to hit the road and I'm going over to Atlanta. And so I will email out from there tonight. I will. All right, guys, you have a blessed afternoon. Get to work, create this product. I can't wait to see it. As always, success is not an accident. Be blessed.